Now then, workplaces, prisons, schools, almost every organisation has a legal duty of care. Universities do not. There is currently a petition organised by parents of students who've killed themselves to create a statutory duty of care in higher education. If they can get to 100,000 signatures by Sunday, then it will be debated in Parliament. I can see that it's currently at 74,000, just over that, a number that's had a boost in recent days, partly as a result of a Facebook post by Maxine Carrick about her son Oscar, who killed himself in June 2021. Now, before he went to university, he had a brain injury in a car accident, which the university was told about. And I spoke to Maxine about his time at university, but I asked first about her social media post and its effect.
It's felt really difficult. And, when every time we got a couple of hundred, we've been like, yay. And I put this post out, this silly post of, quite factual, but of a young man rolling around in some mud on a festival, having the time of his life. And I did not expect this. I was so excited when it got 7 shares. And then even I was ecstatic at 100. And now it's got over 10,000 shares and it's just gone viral. And it's the most amazing thing that all these people care.
So he was having a sort of a lively, happy life, but then things started going wrong.
Yes. So unbeknown to us, the decline seemed to happen around March. And we've only found this subsequently after he died. So we knew that he was having problems and he was struggling. Now, we'd signed a piece of paper online when he joined the university. And I thought that was the opt-in, which Bristol have adopted.
Which is where, although he's over 18, you will be informed if there are reasons to be concerned about his mental health.
So I thought that was a kind of backup. And I also believed that halls of residence was like a halfway point. I just thought, there'll be somebody there checking they're all right. I had no idea it was run by security, external security, who were also flagging up concerns over his mental health.
Right. So he tried to kill himself in the April, was the first attempt on his life.
Yes.
You didn't know this?
No. We found out from the hospital after he'd died when we got the report through.
No.
And he was allowed to walk straight back in as well, unchallenged. Nobody, I think a security guard, we found out the week before the inquest, had sent a kind of message going, Oscar Carrick has walked straight back in the building. What do I do?
Right. Now, at that stage, you said you had signed a form where the university should have contacted you if they had concerns. So they didn't do that?
No, I was told at inquest that was only for emergencies.
Right, so his attempt on his life wasn't considered an emergency?
It wasn't considered over their threshold for contact.
Right. So in June, you heard his attempt on his life had been successful?
Yeah.
And that was when what you discovered the university knew an awful lot more about his mental health then?
We didn't find anything out until the February. Obviously, the coroner's court does the job for you. They collect all the information, and they were waiting for the things to come from the university. And eventually, this 3-page bullet point list came through, and it was basically a timeline of his time there. And at that point, it was the consent was shown. So on the 27th of May, he'd been brought into their wellbeing system, and in that meeting he'd said he'd consented to share his information with myself and the GP, and neither of us were contacted, and they said that was because a consent was not retrospective and they didn't have to tell us about the attempt, but they could have told us that he was on P1 of their concern list.
P1 being?
The highest or the second highest. I think he had been on the highest, which was a P1 star. Okay. And then he was downgraded.
Now, Maxine, you, as a result of all that you subsequently learnt, you are now among the group of families who are saying that universities need a statutory duty of care rather than the general duty of care that currently exists. What difference do you think it would have made?
For me, I think, if I'm a teacher, so obviously I understand the duty of care role within my job. Now, I don't expect it to be like a school. I just expect it to be in line with other things, such as a work placement, being on an apprenticeship, even prisoners or somebody who's arrested. There is a duty of care to those people. And it's not much to ask for students to have the same rights as everybody else. And as a parent, to know that, somebody will pass on a piece of information. And I think the problem at the moment is that universities maybe aren't that clear whose job it is to do what.
So the university, Sheffield Hallam, say that they take supporting students' mental health and well-being extremely seriously, and they say that in recent years we've significantly increased resources to provide access to support services, and every student has access to dedicated advisors. And that's a point made by the government too, in response to this petition to get a debate about whether there should be a statutory duty of care. The government says that in recent years, services are so much better, and that actually turning it into statutory duty of care would be disproportionate.
Yeah, I don't quite understand that really. Just because it's everywhere else, that's why I can't get my head around it, I suppose.
Was his death avoidable?
I believe so. And I have an awful feeling that he really didn't want this. It was a cry for help.
Maxine Carrick talking to me. We did go back to the university and to put some of Maxine's points to them, and they said that they wanted to offer their condolences again to the family and friends. And they say the inquest into his death did not reference any failings on the part of the university. The coroner also commented that she was content the university was engaging with discussions surrounding consent on a sector-wide national level. And just to say, if you need any help or advice about this sort of issues, you can find lots of support on the BBC Action Line website.